Hi, my name is Cecilia, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to make miniature Mandrakes from the Harry Potter franchise, and we're going to make them out of polymer clay, in this example, Fimo, and let's get started. For this project I'm using old clay that is a little bit dried up, so in order to make it soft again I'm just using some Vaseline or petroleum jelly. I just take a little bit on my fingers and just start to knead it into the clay to make it soft again. So here I have some pretty old black clay, and it's not going to be visible, but I'm going to use it as the first layer of the soil for the pot. You just start to press this down into the pot, and then I have some brown clay here, and I'm just going to mix it with the black on the top just to make it a little bit more jewel tone instead of just black. So, and now I just have a little bit of a mix of colors, and I'm just going to use an ugly toothbrush and just squeeze it down to just get some texture that is similar to soil. Just drag it a little bit, push down, and then drag again until you see a texture that you're happy with. I'm never happy, so this will take forever. So let's move on to the next step. We'll just put this to the side while we work on the mandrake itself. I tried to slice out a piece I think will fit good in the pot, but there's always room for mistakes, so it might be a little bit too big, it might be a little bit too small, but we'll figure out of that as we go along. Now I'm just trying to shape out the arms and a little bit of a body underneath. And now I'm just starting to make the neck and the head, and I'm going to take a blade and carefully cut out 3 stripes like this, and I'm going to start shaping them into his, I don't know, mandrake antlers. Just gonna take him, and I'm just gonna try to squish him into place, and I'm just gonna size him up with the other one and look at the size. And he's probably a little bit too big, but we'll sort that out in a minute. So now that I've sort of tried to attach him to the soil, I just using a flat tool just to press him down a little bit so he won't pop off. It's pretty ugly right now, but it's just trying to make the mouth. And we're gonna bend and tweak it a lot, so right now it doesn't matter how it looks like, but and then he has a little nose, and just have to turn it around because I'm struggling to shape anything upside down. And his root antlers are still a little bit too long, so I'm just gonna elongate them towards his face and then chop off the excess on the top, and just gonna squeeze off a little bit more. Just put the clay to the side. The face of happiness. The face of Monday morning. Polymer clay can be a little bit difficult to work with because it is either often too stiff or a little bit too soft. I struggle to get the right consistency. I'm starting to get the basic shape of the mandrake. There's the camera. And now I'm just gonna try and point the weird roots into some weird shapes. We're gonna put leaves on them once they're baked, so they're not gonna be that visible, so it doesn't really matter how well they are done. But I think it's important to make some crazy faces and just have fun with it, because every mandrake looks a little bit different, and some might be a little bit more unhappy than others. And once you got the little nose out, you can just start to push in some lines and have some soft lines going down his arms and then upwards on his head. For the arms, I've just been cutting up some pieces and using my fingers to elongate them and make them different lengths, because it's just gonna look like roots anyways. But you don't want to make them too thin or else the clay might break. Then I'm just going to drag some of the lines we made on the body downwards into the little fingers. So once you're happy with these little bad boys, they're ready for the oven to stiffen up. So just put them in the oven for 30 minutes at 110 Celsius or 230 Fahrenheit, depending on where you live and which system you're using. So it's been 30 minutes and they're out of the oven. These have now been in the oven for 30 minutes. They are now cooled down and I'm ready to paint the pots. As you can see here, I already started on this one because I wanted it to look a little bit weathered down, because this one looks a little bit brand new. So I'll take a little bit of white mixed with a little ochre yellow. This is just normal acrylic paint that you can find in usually any arts and crafts store. So I'm just gonna mix until I find a color that I like. I'm lazy, so I'm just gonna paint my hand and see if I like it. And it looks like that's a color that I want. And I'm just gonna brush on a little bit just to look. And I'm just gonna smear it off with my fingers, so it only sort of leaves a stain instead of a solid brush streak. And only take small parts at a time, because the terracotta really picks up all the moisture in the paint, so it dries immediately. So I'm just doing this all the way around the entire thing until I'm satisfied with this layer. I'm just going to add another layer with a little bit of a different color, because I want some algae or moss look to it, because often when you have these terracotta pots outside, they can get some green moss looking things growing on them because of the moisture and the porous texture of terracotta. So I'm just adding a little blob and then quickly just tapping it away with my finger and dragging it a little bit. And so now let's start painting the actual mandrake. And again, I used the ochre yellow and I mixed it a little bit of brown and a little bit of white. And again, you want to dry brush it as much as possible. So again, I'm lazy, I'm wiping on my own hand. So, and you just want to brush it over the details. You don't want to get it down in the crevices. You just want to brush over it, so you're only putting paint on the top parts that are sticking out, not the deep parts. Now I'm going to go over with another layer on the absolute highest points, and I'm taking the same color that I just used, which is a mix out of brown, ochre, and white, and just adding a little bit more white to it, just to even further highlight the absolute top points. And again, if you feel that you get too much on, just quickly try to brush it off. And if it does dry and you're not happy, you can always go over with a darker color to fix it. I think these little babies are ready for the last step. Okay, so now we're ready for what is perhaps the most difficult part. Not this. This is a fake plant that I bought specifically for this project, but now we're going to glue on leaves. They're really tiny. And we're going to glue them on to the mandrake. I already have one here. I don't know if you can see, but he's drying at the moment because the leaves are a little bit too heavy for the glue. So I had to steady him up with some paper. But I don't particularly like this shape. It's a little bit hard to see, but I want to cut it more as a pointed leaf. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut it real quick, and so it is a point. I'm just starting off with one leaf at a time. I'm starting with the leaf that I already cut right now, and you have to hold it in place until you notice that it gets tacky and that it won't fall off. So once I finish gluing on all the leaves, they're still a little bit wet, so I don't want to touch it too much. I just painted them with a mix out of brown and green because I thought it was a little bit too bright. So a little tip, when you glue on a magnet, you want to make sure that it is as close to the top as possible, so that the most of the weight of the sculpture itself is on the bottom, so the magnet won't flip upside down once you get it on the refrigerator or wherever you want to put a magnet, maybe on your car, I don't know. The choice is yours. But yeah, this is the magnet, and this is just the normal desk figure. These are the finished mandrakes, and if you like what you saw, be sure to click the like button. If you want to watch me make more tutorials like this in the near future, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you have any suggestions on DIYs that I can make, be sure to comment down below. Thank you so much.